Hello, everyone. I'm Aldrich Ignatius from 10 Advisory C, and I'll be analyzing and rating movie physics by implementing scientific methods. Let's first talk about the categories of rating. First category, GP, good physics in general. Next, PGP, pretty good physics, just enough flaws to be fun. Next, PGP 13. Children under 13 might be tricked into thinking the physics were pretty good and parental guidance is suggested. Next, RP Wretch. XP, obviously physics from an unknown universe. And finally, NR, unrated. And when the scene is obviously a parody, fantasy, cartoon, or is clearly based on a comic book, it still can be rated and can be explained how it will happen in real life. The scientific methods of this project is 1. Asking a question about the scene. 2. Doing background research about physics laws and concepts that were violated. 3. Building a hypothesis. 4. Testing the hypothesis using calculation. 5. Analyze the data and drawing a conclusion. And finally, number 6. Communicate the results by presenting it to you people here watching the video. Now, what will we analyze? We'll be analyzing a series named Daredevil, which ran from 2015 to 2018. The exact episode is the sixth episode of the third season, where Matt Murdock and Bullseye is fighting in an office. Let's watch the scene.
I said let go.
Understood. Fashion yourself into something the world will tolerate.
It's just you.
Punishes people like you, like us. The real you. Who are you? I'm Daredevil.
I'm sure you enjoyed the scene. Now, There are two particular instances in that scene where we'll analyze further. First of all is when Benjamin Bullseye Poindexter throws off his stationery, especially a pen at Matt Murdock hiding behind a wall whilst he was trying to reach for a pen as well. Is this scene scientifically possible? I say it is scientifically possible. Which physics concepts and laws were applied or violated? The concept of kinematics was applied by this scene. My hypothesis is that if a pen can reach Matt and in a given amount of time, then Benjamin Poindexter needs to accelerate his hand fast enough to throw. Now let's test the hypothesis. A typical compression unit number 2 pen weighs on average 20 grams. The distance that Matt and Benjamin are standing apart is approximately 10 meters. The scene shows that the pen was thrown in zero point 0.1 seconds and traveled 10 meters in approximately zero point 0.4 seconds. Given the mass is 20 grams, which is 0.02 kilograms, distance is 10 meter, the ball time or the air time was zero point 0.4 seconds, and the time it took for Benjamin to throw was 0.2 seconds. The speed needed for the pen to reach from Benjamin to Matt is distance over time. 10 over zero point 0.4 equals 25 meters per second. Acceleration of the pen is the final velocity minus the initial velocity, and that is divided by the time. 25 minus 0 divided by zero point 0.2, which is 125 meters per second square. The analysis. This means that Benjamin Poindexter's arm must be able to accelerate at least 125 meters per second in zero point 0.2 seconds, which is scientifically possible, as the average speed of baseball pitches are 100 miles per hour, approximately 160 kilometers per hour, or 44.7 meters per second, a number that is larger than the speed of the pen in the video, which the average time of acceleration being the same. My conclusion is Benjamin Poindexter was noted to be a baseball pitcher in the past, and this proves that this scene is possible after being analyzed by using both physics concepts and also information shown within the scene in the series knowledge. In this outcome and concept, Daredevil receives a GP Good Physics rating. Let's move on to the second analysis. Still on the same scene, but we're digging deeper. Matt only flinched for a moment, seemingly not experiencing any pain when the pen impacted his hand. Now, is this scientifically possible, or should he react more aggressively? Well, I say that he has reacted accordingly, and this scene is scientifically possible. Which physics concepts and laws were applied or violated? The concept of momentum and impulse was applied by this scene. My hypothesis is that if a pen can reach Matt at a certain speed and apply certain pressure, then Matt Murdock has reacted to the pain accordingly. Let's test the hypothesis. The average weight of a human male's hand is half a kilogram. The area of the pen surface that hit Matt's hand was 0.2826 squared centimeters. Matt pulled back his hand at 0.2 meters per second during the clip. The pen bounced at an uncertain final velocity after experiencing a collision with Matt's hand at rest. First, we calculate the final velocity of the pen after impacting Matt's hand in order to use the final velocity and initial velocity to find the impulse. We can derive the force from impulse and divide it by the surface area of the part of the pen that has impacted Matt's hand to find the pressure. Let's calculate. Here, we search for the velocity of the pen that bounces indefinitely after impacting Matt's hand by using the mass 1 and initial velocity 1 plus mass 2, Matt's hand, plus initial velocity 2 equals to mass 1, final velocity 1 plus mass 2, final velocity 2. From there, we can find that the final velocity of the pen that bounced after hitting Matt's hand is 20 meters per second. We can also see that the impulse using the final velocity and initial velocity is 0.1 newtons per second. using the V1 to find the impulse that happened between the pen and Matt's hand, and finally, using the impulse and the observed time of impact to calculate the force that was acting upon a pen, we can find that the force was 1 newtons. Using that and the surface area, the force divided by the surface area equals the pressure. 1 divided by 0.00002826 equals to 35,385 pascals, which translates to 5 pounds per square inch. Approximately, dividing the force by the pen surface area and converting it to pascals and then pounds per square inch gives us that number. Now, the calculations show that the pen would have applied 5.07 pounds per square inch to Matt's hand as it impacted. Now, science shows that a human body can withstand up to 50 pounds per square inch of sudden impact. Now, Matt was only impacted by approximately 1/10 of that maximum pressure, which shows that the pain was not significant, and his reaction of pulling back should be assumed as reasonable, a reaction to shock instead of extensive pain. This proves that the scene is possible after being analyzed by using physics concepts and information shown within the scene, series, and knowledge. This deserves a good physics rating. Now, the third analysis. This is a different scene, different part of the scene when Benjamin Poindexter throws a dismembered nunchaku club at Foggy Nelson. Just when it almost hit him, Matt Murdock extended his arm in front of Foggy to catch it just on time, reacting and moving very fast. Now, is this scene scientifically possible? I say it is scientifically possible. Which physics concepts and laws were applied or violated? The concept of kinematics was applied by the scene. Now, my hypothesis is that if a nunchaku was thrown by Benjamin at a certain speed, then Matt Murdock is able to move his arm fast enough to react to it and catch it before the nunchaku reaches Foggy. Now let's test this hypothesis. Benjamin Poindexter was standing approximately 10 meters away from Foggy. Matt Murdock was standing half meter from to the left of Foggy. Now, Benjamin threw a nunchaku club that averages 370 grams according to nunchaku manufacturers. The nunchak traveled across in 1 second based on the scene. We've established previously that Benjamin is able to throw at high speeds. Now, Matt Murdock in the scene was able to catch it on time. We're given the distance 10 meters, time 1 second, and mass 370 grams. The speed of the nunchaku is 10 meters per 1 second, which is 10 meters per second. And Matt, standing zero point 0.5 meters away, he only has 0.05 seconds to catch. Now, the speed in the video is 10 meters per second. Matt's arm was moving 10 meters per second, extending. The National Library of Medicine has conducted studies and shown that a human arm can extend its arm length in 0.9 seconds. Average arm length of a 30-year-old male is 25 inches, which is 0.635 meters. How fast the average human can move their arm is 0.635 divided by 0.9, which is 0.705 meters per second. Now, Matt's speed compared to the average humans is 14.3 times faster. Now that's confusing. Matt Murdock was able to move his arm at a tremendous speed, just enough time to save his friend from certain danger. But the calculations show that he was able to move his arm approximately 14 times faster than the average human being. And considering the stakes of the scene, I believe that the show made Matt to be able to save his friend like that for the sake of theatrics and the storytelling. And in conclusion, this scene is not possible in real life. Although, it is not impossible, as we can't say for sure Matt has not trained his arm to do just that, and if he already did any prior movement before the scene cuts to him. But as far as we know, my hypothesis was proven wrong. All in all, this scene is a PG-13 rating, as the physics are visibly pretty good, but children may be tricked into thinking this is possible, and resulting in them trying out the stunt and could cause unwanted injuries, which calls for parental discretion. My final remarks. Daredevil, as a show, has shown its persistence in staying true to physics concepts and laws, as the show is very down to earth and human compared to its superpowered Marvel counterparts. For a physics enthusiast, especially Miss Arum, I definitely recommend watching Daredevil to get your dose of action whilst enjoying the nature of good physics throughout the show. Thank you for watching.